to the City Commission meeting for the City of El Dorado, July 20th. Call this meeting to order. First thing on our agenda is an invocation. Chase, would you do that honor?
If you'd all pray with me. Lord Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this time that we could come together as a commission to serve our city. We pray your blessings on our community. We pray and lift up the family of the young man that assumedly lost his life in the past weekend. Lord, we just pray your blessings on our guests here this evening and pray that you will guide our actions to best serve those in the majority of our community. And we just lift all these things up in your Son, Jesus' holy name. Amen.
Amen. And God bless Betty Scanlon.
Thank you. Next we have the Pledge of Allegiance. We have with us doing the Pledge of Allegiance the Ark of Butler County. Come up and we'll get ready for that.
Excellent job.
Thank you. Notice that the Ark of Butler County wearing their softball uniforms for tonight, the Blazers. So welcome to our meeting. Next on our agenda is personal appearances. We have Brad Meyer going to do a personal appearance, but I think before Brad, Herb, did you indicate that Kurt was going to sneak in front of him?
So Brad, probably half an hour.
I'm just going to take a couple of minutes. This is speak to you about something that's very important to the citizens of El Dorado, and that's
Is that a gift?
Yeah, this is on.
No,
Nobody.
is that a gift?
This is actually Huggies wipes.
Oh.
That's my topic. Nobody likes sewage backed up in their basement, and several years ago, the primary reason for sewage backing up into basements was tree roots. We've taken care of the tree root problem. We have a process called vapor rooter where it kills all the tree roots. And so now what we're seeing, the primary cause of sewer backups is disposable wipes or so-called flushable wipes that really aren't flushable. And so I'm here to appeal to the citizens of El Dorado, please don't flush paper towels, wipes, anything that has the sheer strength that they don't fall apart in the sewer. What happens is they kind of go downstream and then they start to pile up and dam up, and it causes a restriction. When sewer can't get away from your home, it starts backing up in your basement. So we can all solve this problem by not flushing wipes, paper towels, certainly diapers, things like that, and we won't have near as many sewer backups. So that's all I have, and do you have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Brad, would you like to come up?
That is a tough act to follow.
I don't know how I'm going to follow
You don't
not
have any,
flushing things
you
down
don't
the
have
sewer,
any
but
visual aids like he did.
there you go. That's it. I am Brad Meyer. I'm the Public Works Director. I've been with the City of El Dorado for 21 years now. I'm excited to come and talk to you guys a little bit tonight. Everybody's had their opportunity to do a state of their department, and for the guys and gals that we have working in Public Works, I think this is the time that the department heads get to come up and brag on their employees for the work that we do and how fortunate we are at the city to have the employees that we have. I've been asked many times throughout my 27 years in Public Works, what is Public Works? What do they do? And my answer has always been, well, you know what a policeman does when a policeman comes to work, and you know what a fireman does, and the guys that make sure you have great water coming to your house, and Kurt makes sure that things get flushed down the toilet, go away. We do everything else that doesn't include those things. So they said that I had 5 minutes to talk. We often make fun of Kurt for not being able to stay within a time limit, but if you look at this, it says, what is Public Works? We're responsible for a wide variety of activities within the city, including maintenance of streets, roads, maintenance and operation of stormwater drainage and infrastructure, maintenance of public buildings, operation of a central maintenance garage, fleet services, traffic control devices, and maintenance. All solid waste activities, including waste collection, recycling, composting, and also included in our day-to-day operations is animal control, animal sheltering, and the operation of municipal airport. So if I only had 5 minutes to talk, it couldn't happen because I couldn't tell you everything about these divisions in 5 minutes. I'll do the best that I can. Our organizational structure has changed recently in Public Works, and we are very excited about some of the changes that we made with middle management and with labor forces. So we're excited to see how those changes progress and how our employees react and deal with those changes. So far, we've been very successful. We have 33 full-time positions, 2 to 3 part-time positions, and our main operations are Public Works, major streets, stormwater, sanitation, recycle, animal control, airport, central maintenance garage, building maintenance, and information technologies. I'll start out with the airport, commonly known as EQA, located at 1485 Southeast 30th. Lots of things have happened over the course of the last 3 to 5 years at the airport that have greatly improved the functionality of the airport. I think one of the best things that we have done as a city was hired an airport manager to manage the day-to-day operations of the airport. There was some question when Caleb first started as to what would he do out there all day. Well, shortly it was no question in anybody's mind what Caleb did, and the things that you're about to see are just a small piece of what he does at the airport. In 2010, we had 29 based airplanes at the airport. Today, we have 43 airplanes at the airport, a little over a 45% increase. There's 25 T-hangars and 2 community T-hangars. Caleb was in charge of getting the AWAS system at the airport so that local pilots can get local weather reports rather than getting the weather out of Jabbar or Mid-Cont, because everyone knows that that being 30 miles away, 20 minutes away, the weather can change. We have several businesses, not only permanent but temporary businesses at the airport. Peterson Performance. We have several aerial applicators that come in. We have lots of pipeline flyers, and we have a flight training and airplane ride services out there as well. One of the most impressive thing is fuel sales. In 2010, we averaged about 21,000 gallons of fuel, and by the end of 2014, we will average about 31,000. So a pretty big difference in the amount of fuel sales at the airport. This is a pretty neat graphic if you look at it. It talks about where people fly when they go to and from using our airport. Now that's 2010 to 2015. June to June, and if you look at all those are all IFR flights that leave the airport. So that means they have filed a flight plan with somebody. It's not a guy that just hopped up, flew over to Benton, dropped in, ate dinner, and came back. These are all IFR flights, and so you look at that, and we're spanning side to side and top to bottom. People leaving El Dorado and coming back to those destinations. The next slide is just for the last year, and again, if you look at that, you'll see lots of IFR flights in and out of the airport, and part of that has to do with the amount of money that has been spent at the airport with federal funding and so on. So lots of neat information if you stop and you study those and you kind of look and see where people have gone. So annually we have fly-ins. Where we have customer appreciation fly-ins to let people know, our customers that come buy fuel from us, that hangar with us, that use our airport, that we appreciate them coming and doing that. And the bottom picture is a pretty cool picture that Caleb took of the aerial applicators on the tarmac ready to load up and go. Just some more customer appreciation fly-in stuff. We have the Boy Scouts out to serve pancakes and sausage, and the Young Eagles give airplane rides and try to get the younger generation interested in flying. Going to the animal control and animal shelter, we have 25 dog kennels and 12 cat cages, nearly 2,000 calls logged each year for various reasons, whether they're complaints, whether they're concerns, whether they're violations, a little over 2,000 calls each year. Now, this is the slide that doesn't ever make everyone very happy, but over 1,000 animals come through our shelter on an average every year. 50 plus go to rescues, 400 are redeemed by the owner, and almost 100 are adopted out. Well, clearly those numbers don't equal 1,000, and so there are animals that are put down each year, but unfortunately, in some cases, those animals are better off than being where they were at and being how they were being treated, or just being strays in general. You won't find two more caring people that work at the animal shelter than Jay and Donna in trying to find those animals homes when they come in. So lots of care and concern go into all of those. When we talk about on a regular basis, when the city acquires property or there is the need to tear down structures, we average tearing down 6 to 8 structures a year, whether they're houses, buildings, whatever they may be, and that work is all done in-house. Another one that we're pretty proud of is the first entire concrete street tear out and replacement was done at the end of 2014, beginning of 2015. This was done to ease the burden on the homeowners. Public Works took that project on. We knew we could do it. We hadn't had the opportunity yet. We got the opportunity to do it, and I challenge you to go match that street up that the guys did with any of the streets that you can go see that Cornejo did or any of the other big contractors did. I'd put our work up against about any of them. So the guys did a great job for their first shot out of the box, and I think they did well. Again, concrete crew does lots of work. We have a crew of 4 men that do those projects. This is a picture of the new T-hangars built out at the airport where the concrete crew, city staff self-performed on all of the aprons around the openings, the drives, and the taxiways to get to the new hangars. So it's quite impressive. It's a lot of concrete. We did this work before we did the street, and the guys had never done a street before, and I said, yeah, you did. You did 5 of them out there. You did 5 small streets out there. This isn't going to be anything. And so when they thought about it like that, the project wasn't as daunting as they may have thought. Traffic signs and signals and street marking, it's a constant job. Traffic signals is one of those things that we work on constantly, making sure that people can traverse the streets of El Dorado and can see what they're doing. Rodney Reed takes care of that for us. Rodney gets a little summer help sometimes to do those things, but generally does all of the signs you'll see in certain areas. You'll see new street signs going up, the ones in downtown that we changed from green to brown to denote the historic district. So all of that work is done in-house. Those signs are designed in-house, they're set up, and they're actually built in-house. This is a project that we did. It was not last year, but it was a project that citizens came to the commission and said, this crosswalk is not visible enough. Well, if it's not visible enough now, you probably should not be driving. There's lots of white, there's lots of glass beads, and all of the signs have been changed to meet the retroreflectivity requirements that are required under the MUTCD. This is a fun one. This is kind of where some of us like it. You've heard when the tornado sirens go off, you're supposed to go to your basement. Well, unfortunately, we don't always get to go to our basement, or if we do, we get to go and then come right back up, because when storms hit, we come out and start clearing roads so that emergency services can get to folks if they need to. This is a picture of the most recent storm that when we pulled up on, this tree was just knocked over. And you can see how far behind the sidewalk the tree is. It reached entirely across 2nd Avenue. And so when you pull up and you see this, it's a pretty daunting picture that you've got a big old tree you got to figure out what to do with. So our main goal is to get the roadway open so that emergency services can get in. If we can't, like in this case, we'll notify dispatch and let them know they'll have to get it from different angles to get down this street. But when storms come out, that's when we come out as well. The lines on the street that cause people to go nuts at Dillon's and Walmart. This is an application of brine. We do this, we pre-treat out front of storms, ice, snow, etc. It actually helps keep the snow from sticking to the ground as bad as if we don't pre-treat. And so people judge when they need to go to the store and what they need to be doing by if there are white lines on the street. And so as this liquid you see here dries out, it turns white, and it's good for several days on the roadway. So, and then just some pretty good pics of the guys doing work. You'll see us in the wintertime, you'll see us gang plowing. You'll see us doing central. When I started, we had one dump truck with a plow and a small F-350 with a little parking lot type plow, and that's how we plowed. As you look in the lower left-hand corner and the upper right-hand corner, that's how we plow now. We take central in one pass, we take main in one pass, so that we don't inconvenience folks by having a drift of snow in the outside lane. We take everything from the center of the street all the way to the curb in one pass. So there could be as many as 4, 5, 6 trucks going down Central, North Main, South Main, etc., at any one time, at any given time. That's also how we plow the airport in the upper left and lower right. We gang plow the runways, and we will be at the airport within 24 hours of a snowstorm to keep the airport open and functioning, because believe it or not, people do fly when it snows. Whew, I thought there wasn't going to be a slide there for a minute. Just a couple more pictures of snow activities that we do. Building maintenance, it is key. It's just like maintaining our vehicles and our fleet. Our buildings are one of our biggest pieces of infrastructure that we as a city have. And it is a full-time job keeping older buildings, as many of you may know, in operation. Kevin Leinart is our building maintenance man, and he has, over the course of the last couple of years, completed both level 1 and level 2 of the certified building operators courses that are provided. Kevin single-handedly maintains most of our buildings within the city, so that's everything from taking a stain out of the carpet because somebody dropped their hot chocolate, to changing lights, to working on air conditioners when they're not blowing cold air. And so lots of work done with all of our buildings. And that's ball fields. He works on ball fields and at recycle and at police department and all of those buildings. So he stays quite busy. Something near and dear to me is our trash department, of course, because that's where I started. That's where I cut my teeth at. This is a picture of our automated refuse truck. It collects a little over 1,100 carts a day from whatever route that it's on, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. The routes are fairly even except for Monday and Tuesday. They're a little bit heavier than the other days of the week, but everybody's fairly even, but all done with an automated system. Curbside recycle truck is a white truck with the green body on the back, and they too collect about 1,100 carts a day, but they do it manually with a guy on the back still. And so at some point soon, you're going to see a proposal to take recycle automated and then potentially even combining the two into one truck rather than 2 trucks out on the road. So our commercial recycling, they do a little over 600 stops a week, and there is no charge to the customers for that service. That service is free. Now you might say, well, they're taking money away from you in trash. Well, what we're actually doing is we're actually conserving landfill space by taking their cardboard waste out of their waste stream and taking it back to the recycling center and processing it there. Our recycling center operates a single stream recycling facility now. We used to sort. We do not sort any longer. The days of sorting material have, I won't say come and gone, but there are way more processing centers that are only doing a single stream sort than doing the actual 12 item sort and baling each one of those individually. The manpower costs are way less for us to single stream, and it's almost a wash in what we made versus what it cost us. Roll-off services, the city has 14 permanent sets and 29 transient set containers. Transients mean that if you're tearing the roof off of your house and you need a roll-off, we set it for a couple weeks and then we come and pick it up. Permanent sets would be more like Pioneer and Walmart, Westar, those sort of sets there. We average about 100 pickups a year, and that number has grown exponentially over the last few years when we talk about the number of containers set per year. And last but certainly not least, our CNG projects. I was challenged several years ago now that I think about it, to come up with a way to not buy Tier 4 diesel engines because of the cost. As gas prices and fuel prices continued to rise, at one point we were paying about $3.50 a gallon for diesel fuel. And so the push to do something different was even stronger at that point. In 2010 was when the challenge was issued. We began doing lots and lots of research to figure out how to do it and make sure that we did it correctly and safely. We began the implementation in 2012 when we purchased a 2012 382 Peterbilt as a demo from a Peterbilt dealership in Wichita. In 2013, we began the design of our facility. It was designed solely in-house. There were no outside contractors brought in to design it because, quite frankly, there's not very many that do that sort of work. And they tease us about getting a box full of pieces in the mail every so often. It was like the Johnny Cash song, you did it one piece at a time. Well, that's kind of how we built this. We designed it and we would make changes on the fly as we needed to our grand opening in September 2014 when we opened our station up and opened it to the public to be able to be used. Our first customer was a Westar CNG Honda Civic. Just a picture of our grand opening. The commission was present for that, and it was quite the, it was kind of the icing on the cake, if you will, for the guys that participated in that had some pride in what they did. Some things that we're proud of as a city, not just in public works, but the city of El Dorado owns, I believe, the first CNG flusher vac truck that has no diesel on it. It is totally a dedicated piece of equipment. We also own Mr. Pete, the 382 Peterbilt that is dedicated, which dedicated means there is no other fuel on that vehicle, all CNG. We also took delivery of the first CNG street sweeper in the state of Kansas. Missouri has a few, but there are none in the state of Kansas with the exception of ours. And so I can't tell you how many people we've had call and want to know, how's it work? Well, it works just like the other street sweeper, except my fuel costs $1 a gallon and yours costs $2.50. So we currently have 14 vehicles in the city running on CNG. Our savings numbers are great. We've done a very good job of getting high users converted, and we're still working towards other big users of fuel to snatch them up and get them converted and get them into the fleet as well. I forgot, and I'm maybe remiss. Before I go on, we also have one of the first fire trucks, the new brush rig that El Dorado Fire has. Pickup 2 is a CNG. It's a bi-fuel. It's a dual fuel truck. So it does have unleaded on it, but it also has CNG, and I believe that's the first fire apparatus vehicle in the state of Kansas to be CNG as well. When we started in 2010, the first thing we did was we wanted to see who our biggest users were. Well, it won't surprise anyone that our trash department, our sanitation division, was the highest users of fuel. Those trucks go slow and they burn lots of diesel fuel. This list does not include all 14 of our vehicles, but it does show that right after the refuse department came the vehicles that we started hitting, which were all of our bigger users. We have 2 police vehicles, one 2009 Impala and a 2012 pickup that are both used every day in police work that are both CNG as well. This just kind of shows our annual fuel usage, our annual fuel gallons from 10 to 13, which again gave us some good information on where we needed to start and what we needed to work on. For the project, the City of El Dorado received the 2014 Kansas Ready Mix Concrete Association Award for Project of the Year, Municipal Project of the Year for the fueling station, for the CNG fueling station as well. So again, got to get some folks recognized for their hard work that they did. This is funny. The road to Las Vegas and Waste Expo is a long one if you don't have CNG to get you there. Interestingly enough, the week that Waste Expo was going on in Las Vegas, the Wichita CNG station went down. And so all of these vehicles right here and probably a half a dozen more came to our station to be able to get them on into Oklahoma, to get them on to Vegas where they would be. The waste management truck in the lower left-hand corner was at the show. The roll-off truck that's in there was at the show. Those trucks all drove to the show on CNG, but not first before stopping in El Dorado, Kansas to take on CNG. So it was, that was pretty cool. It's not uncommon to see this at our station. This day in particular, there were 7 AT&T trucks in line waiting to get fuel, and you can't beat that. That's just good stuff. Our names aren't dots on the map. It says El Dorado, Kansas, and we can fuel just about anything that everybody's got. But that day there were seven of those AT&T trucks ready to fill up and go. This is for one truck. This just gives you an idea if you haven't seen this or heard this speech from me. Chase and Nick, I apologize because you both have heard this, but our automated refuse truck, the one that I showed you the picture of, uses about 8,000 gallons of fuel per year, which is a lot of fuel. When we did this, the average fuel cost was about $3.75 a gallon. That's about $30,000 a year for the one vehicle, just the one. If that truck were switched over to CNG and it used the same 8,000 gallons of fuel, our cost for a gallon of fuel is about $1. And so you've taken that budget, that line item, from $30,000 to about $8. So it's a huge difference when you look at the cost of fuel. Now, when fuel dropped down and got real low, everybody says, "Are you nervous about it?" And I'm really not, because I don't think that it's going to stay low forever, and it hasn't proved to stay low. It has proved to continue to climb a little bit each month, and some nights a lot when you look at the overall cost of a gallon of gas. So until gas gets down to 70, 80 cents a gallon, then I guess we'll start worrying, but I don't see those days coming back anytime soon. And that's only on one truck. That's only on one truck in our fleet, so. I know, I went over. I don't believe that. I'll answer any questions that you may have. We just want to tell you guys thank you for the support that you've given us through our budgets and through working with us, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Next on our agenda is public comment. Anybody from the audience wish to address the commission? Being none, I'll close public comment. We'll move to consent agenda. Commissioners had a chance to look at your consent agenda, which includes your minutes from our last meeting. Any questions associated with that? Being none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that the consent agenda as presented be approved.
Second?
All right, moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next on our agenda is the general obligation bond sale. We had a bidding today for our GO bonds, is that correct?
Yes, sir. And Tammy, do you want to do this, or do you
Well,
want
actually,
Tom
I think I'll
to
let
do
Tom
this?
Calico do it. He's the expert.
Evening, Mayor, members of the Commission. Tom Calico with Springstead Incorporated, the city's financial advisor. As the mayor said, we took bids on bonds today. Your general obligation refunding and improvement bonds, Series 2015A. As the name implies, they were both refunding and new improvements. Refunded your Series 2008 general obligation bonds for interest cost savings, and then also funded 11 internal improvement projects that were previously completed, funded initially from city cash, and so now we're basically putting in place the long-term borrowing for those projects. You have before you this evening two actions, an ordinance and a resolution. An ordinance approving the sale and a resolution prescribing the terms and form of the bonds. The bonds ended up being in the amount of $3,937,000. They were originally sized at $4,207,000, you might recall, but we were reduced because you received a premium bid. The winning bid was a premium bid for your bonds, so we were able to apply the premium and reduce the amount of borrowing. They're 10-year bonds, although the refunding portion is only has an 8-year term. We took bids at 11 o'clock this morning. We got 7 bids, which, looking back at your past sales, is up, I think, pretty much ties your high number for the last 8 years or so. Those 7 bids actually, though, represent 32 separate banks, because we had a couple of bids that were syndicates of banks, one that was a very large syndicate. So that gives you an idea of the interest and the participation. The winning bid was from Piper Jaffray and Company at a true interest cost of 1.88%. True interest cost, you might recall, takes into account both the time value of money as well as any fees associated with the transaction. On the refunding portion, the present value savings, it was about $98,500. That's 5.2% of the refunded debt service. You might recall that the Government Finance Officers of America, they recommend generally about a minimum 3% of refunded debt service as the initial threshold to make a refunding worthwhile. So at 5.8, we well exceeded that minimum threshold. At the direction of the staff, those savings are going to be received roughly equally over the life of the bonds, the remaining 8 years, and that averages out to about $15,150 per year in savings on a cash flow basis. We consider the bid from Piper Jaffray to be a very aggressive and market competitive bid based on number of bids received, some comparable transactions that were conducted in the marketplace today, as well as various market indices. As we always do in conjunction with your bond issue, we applied for a rating. And Standard & Poor's, I'm pleased to report, I think you've already heard, upgraded the city's general obligation credit rating from A+ to AA-. So you are now a AA city. Something certainly to be very proud of. They cited in their, Standard & Poor's cited in their rating report various strengths of the city. Those include strong budgetary performance, very strong budgetary flexibility and liquidity, as well as strong financial management. So congratulations to that. I'll tell you that Springstead likes to honor our clients who earn rating upgrades, and I'll be coming back to you sometime in the near future with a nice framed certificate that you can hang someplace visible in City Hall. With that, we would recommend the award of the 2015A general obligation refunding and approved bonds to Piper Jaffray, and I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Questions? Necessarily? Felt like you were pretty comfortable, felt like we did, obviously the interest rate and the bids were quite good, but good coverage, you were really pleased with that?
Yeah, I am. I looked over, we had several other competitive sales today. One that was the same rating and about the same size. We had another one that was just slightly higher, one notch higher rating. And this transaction lined up very well with those. Looking also at, a market indice, which is the municipal market data scales. It lined up well with that. And, with 7 bids, you got the power of competition working for you, so I would have been shocked if we didn't get very favorable bids.
You get market rate with 7, that's for sure.
Yep.
Okay. Have to ask the question, do we have any local banks participate or any local institutions?
Well, let me take a look. Let's see. Got the bid tabulation here somewhere. You amass a lot of paper when you sell bonds. There we go. No, there we go. Any particular ones that you were looking for?
No, just curious if we had any local participation.
I'm just gonna pick out some that I know are kind of local to regional names. Commerce was in the mix. Central States Capital Markets, Country Club, UMB.
Okay.
Some of the local
Okay.
names.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions? Entertain a motion then.
Mr. Mayor, I move to award the firm of Piper Jaffray and Company the sale of general obligation bond issue series 2015A with an average interest rate of 3.5% with total interest of $710,560.67 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the bid form.
3.0.
Did I screw that up? 3.05%.
I'll second it.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
You need a roll call on this one? It's the next one coming up. Okay. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0.
Ordinance number?
Sorry. Entertain another motion then.
I'm coming. Mr. Mayor, I move that ordinance number S1345, an ordinance authorizing and providing for the issuance of general obligation bond series 2015A of the city of El Dorado, Kansas for the purpose of providing funds to refund the city's outstanding general obligation bonds, providing for the levy and collection of an annual tax for the purpose of paying the principal of and interest on said bonds as they become due, authorizing certain other documents and actions in connection therewith, and making certain covenants with respect thereto be approved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Commissioner Lewis,
Yes.
Commissioner Badway,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkinson,
Yes.
Mayor Haynes,
Yes.
Commissioner Locke.
Yes.
2807 is the next one.
2807.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion number 3 in this business.
Do we do it? Oh, is this the next one?
That's the next one.
Are we ready for it?
We're ready.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I move that Resolution 2807, a resolution authorizing and directing the issuance, sale, and delivery of general obligation bonds, Series 2015A of the City of El Dorado, Kansas, providing for the levy and collection of an annual tax for the purpose of paying the principal of and interest on said bonds as they become due, making certain covenants and agreements to provide for the payment and security thereof, and authorizing certain other documents and actions connected therewith be approved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay.
I want to thank Tammy and her staff and Tabitha and Herb and everybody that's involved in this, because it sounds like they had a big part in not only our rating that we now enjoy, but also the interest rate that, and I think we owe them a big thanks for that. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work.
We'll thank Tom Calico because he actually came to us for this one to save us money
Thank you, Tom.
during budget.
You're the best.
Okay. Move on to the next item, which is general budget discussion. We've been working on the budget as a commission. I guess the first thing to ask is, the action we just had today is represented in our new budget, is that correct?
That is correct. I think the only thing I'd add, we're always ready for questions, but you all have been discussing increasing franchise fees from 5% to 6%. We've started all those contacts with all our utilities, our external utilities, not our internal. And it's going exactly as it's gone for other cities in Kansas. Westar is sending us the information, so it looks like that will not be difficult and will be coming pretty quick. It is about it's over half of the total revenue, so $150,000, $160,000 of new income. Kansas Gas has said that they prefer to have it at 5. It's a company policy, and while I understand that, okay. I mean, it's just what it is, and so we're going to work with all the utilities, and I anticipate it's going about like I thought it would. But the big one was Westar. The big one that you really need is Westar, and they're being great, and so I look for you to start having documents and having franchise amendments coming up pretty quick.
Okay. I guess I would make comment that working with the staff in our last work session, we landed at the point where we were not making an adjustment to mill levy. Any increase in revenue that the city or that the budget needed was going to be in these franchise taxes, and felt like that was, I don't speak for the whole commission, but myself, that was a fair way to spread out any increases among all the citizens rather than just property owners. I got comfortable with it based on that.
Well, the other thing I like about it too is this franchise fee is based on usage, correct? And so it does give the citizens a bit of control. They can turn the thermostat up or down accordingly, or use a little less of the natural gas. So they do have a little bit of control of their own destiny on this, so I think that's good. And I'll echo what Mayor Haynes said. To me, it seems it doesn't just put the burden on the property owners, because everyone, whether they own or rent, or they have lights and they have heat, and a lot of them watch TV and talk on the phone.
And I guess I'd also like to add, part of part of the challenge that we're looking at in the budget, as we were looking towards the need to increase revenue and the goal of holding the mill levy steady. That challenge was brought to light as the real challenge because of our lowered valuation. I mean,
Correct.
we've seen a level mill levy for many years, and all that's to be very well commended. The drop in our general valuation of our city has caused the revenue stream to drop. I'd like to think that we're at the bottom of that dip and probably gonna come back up with the housing market recovering like it is. That's kind of a direct relationship of that. So I have faith, or I'd like to say that we hold the line on mill levies, but also maybe even start to see that trend reverse a little bit too.
And
Any other
again,
comments?
also want to give a lot of credit where credit is due, and that's to our staff, and from department heads on down for cutting their budgets to the bone, because they all have, and make do with less and with no drop in services, and that was our goal. So once again, they made us look pretty good. So thank you, all staff members.
Any other comments or questions from the commission for the budget? Tammy, would you remind us, we've got another work session coming up. Remind us of our schedule that we want to.
That's the one thing I didn't bring in here.
Are
that
we
I
still
can-
blue?
Huh?
Are
We,
green or
we are blue.
We're blue?
We will adopt the budget on the second meeting in August.
Is that blue?
That's blue.
Okay.
And for the citizens, I gave the commission and mayor 3 dates, and they were coded, color-coded, green, blue, and red. And I told them I didn't want to do red, that's too late. So we compromised, and they did blue. So you understand what we're saying here.
Green being an aggressive schedule, blue being a comfortable schedule, and
Right.
red being it's too late schedule, almost too late.
Well, as Herb would say, not too late, but too late for me.
It was the last date you could do it by law, and then
Right,
11th hour.
yeah.
So I appreciate that. So I guess continue, ask the commission that as we purposely didn't have it on this agenda for the opportunity to have some public input or comment to us, as well as a chance to kind of spend some more time looking through that budget. So I would encourage everybody to do that.
And you will
Come
get
with
it
your
this
last bit
week.
of questions at our next meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary. You will get it this week, hopefully tomorrow, both the state forms and what we use for the budget. So
Okay.
you can compare them if you have questions. You can make your
I would
list.
encourage everybody to look through that quickly and generate your questions so that we're not moved to a red schedule because of questions. All right,
It's gonna be adopted.
thank you. Any other questions, comments on the budget?
I don't have any.
New business. I have something for new business. I think I've got some pretty exciting news I think I'd like to announce. I'm going to announce. I don't know that. Late last week, we were notified, and today it's been published for a news release. The city of El Dorado is one of 7 finalists selected by KDOT for a shipping hub. There were 111 proposals given to KDOT, El Dorado, and 6 other communities were shortlisted for a transload intermodal type facility, both rail and truck. This is a great opportunity for the city. This is a great, we've been recognized by KDOT as one of the top 10 locations in the state to receive this. This is the work, and I guess congratulations to the city staff and El Dorado Inc. working together to keep this ball rolling. And I know there was an initial submission, and there were 2 or 3 other question and answer sessions up to this point. So congratulations to everybody, and we look forward to making a presentation at the end of this month to KDOT with the hopes of being awarded at the end of August. Recognized that way.
And I asked Linda to come tonight, and if you had questions, you want to know more about it or hear from her, she's here tonight. I'm generally here, and so if you had any questions or wanted any more development, happy to provide that for you.
Linda, would you want to share anything more? Why don't you come forward?
Yes, it's exciting.
It's exciting.
That's the first thing I'll say. Very
What's
exciting.
the next step in the process?
We make a presentation on the 31st. Basically, we're being asked to tell them what we want them to know about our project. Our project has a lot of capacity, and that capacity comes from the ability of our city to work with the developer. We have a very seasoned developer in this project, and we have a great site. So keep in mind, our highway transportation patterns are very good to have north, south, east, west highways coming into El Dorado. This particular site has the ability to have rail service from Burlington, Northern Santa Fe, and Union Pacific. And it also is a site that can be expanded quite a bit. So initial site's over 420 acres. It has an adjacent single owner parcel that's about 416 acres next to it, and then can go on from there. So a lot of information to put together for a 30-minute presentation on the 31st.
Can you tell the citizens of El Dorado exactly what this is? I guess here it's a load facility. Exactly what is it?
The definition of a transload facility, and in this particular request, they're asking for materials to be able to go from truck to rail or rail to truck. So you could have several different applications for this. The commodity could be an agricultural commodity that's moving by truck to this site and going out by rail. You might have a distribution center where companies and the property will have enough room for businesses to build distribution warehouse centers. You might also have manufacturing, just like BG and Barton, that use rail. This potential facility could have some additional spurs to companies that maybe bring raw material in or finished materials out. So.
We should have had Tom stay. If any of y'all have driven to Kansas City and seen all the warehousing going in Gardner, Tom and Springstead put that package together for that community. And so we even have experience doing it. And so he could spoke a little bit about that, and we'll probably, as we go forward, they'll be more involved in Tom. We talked to Tom about it a week ago.
I might mention that we've worked with principals in this development company for almost 4 years on this site. And so a lot of the preliminary engineering and potential layouts had been done along the way. So we feel very on top of our game in reference to being able to develop the site in a timely manner. And I think that's going to be important to KDOT.
And from almost the first day too, we brought KDOT in and started talking to them. So our local engineering staff has known about us working, and when it started, it was petroleum, and it was going to be pipeline, rail, truck. And so it was even another mode when you added in the pipeline. And so don't want to discount that potential either. As long as they're shipping oil by train out of it's primarily Canadian oil or North Dakota oil.
So Linda, tell us a little bit about what's it mean to be selected by KDOT? I mean, what does that mean?
KDOT, along with the engineering staff, has had a advisory committee that has looked through these and been the evaluators of these applications along the way. So to be selected as the only site in south central Kansas where we feel privileged to be singled out that way. And I think that it gives a good indicator that we're a location that has the potential to bring value to not only our community, but to the state and the region. So I think we're pleased to be part of that group. So like I said, it seems like we have a lot of the components in place that they're looking for. And some challenges, you know, there's things that you don't change. And when you look at site selection for any reason, you know, we always talk about location. And we know that El Dorado is a great location with the transportation patterns. We also have a large workforce within 25 to 40 miles of the community, so we could support large employment efforts if necessary. And I think that our performance as a community with the Barton VG project, which has a lot of the same components this project will have on raw ground, just like this was, shows our capacity and ability to work with those corporate type of citizens and provide the necessary support that they need. So I think we perform beyond our size, and I'm pleased with that.
It's exciting.
It is exciting. Exciting to get here.
Good job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, it's a group effort, definitely a group effort.
Yeah, I'd say, a testimony to the private-public partnerships that are here. We've worked with the developer for some time, and as well as working with city staff. So, and another success story similar to BG that brings all that to the table. So, congratulations to everybody.
And the one thing I didn't mention is we need to look at this as a regional effort. And we've seen a lot of regional talk in the media. And we're looking forward to see that regional participation from our partners in the South Central Kansas. So.
Yeah, being the only one in South Central Kansas is a big deal. So.
Thank you.
And I think I just read in Saturday's paper about, there was an article about Sedgwick County and the city of Wichita, and it quoted Mayor Longwell saying that I guess the city will just carry forward the regionalism, and if the county won't, so maybe we have a partner there as well.
We'll reach out and have some discussions. This essentially, I mean, if this comes to fruition, we'll maybe see an increase in truck traffic. So we'll across the board, we'll be looking at infrastructure changes, and I guess that's what the significance of KDOT embracing this side is. Then some KDOT funds get directed in this direction.
KDOT has identified funds for this development, for a development of a transload facility, and so we think it'll probably be 90-10 would be my guess of the match they require, but it'll be for infrastructure. We've had conversations ongoing for years about a northwest bypass. When we've talked to them, most recently it's been an extension of McCollum. And so McCollum west to probably north of the old Peaster, and then on Industrial Road, probably cut across there somewhere. And so probably be a road. Big part of that will be the bridge that comes with going over the river, and then rail facilities. And so there'll be a bunch of millions of dollars spent in developing the site, and then development that goes with the use of the site. And so I think it's a wonderful opportunity. One other thing that is noteworthy was last spring, KDOT hosted a meeting with high school students from the region to talk about transportation, and our children talked about the danger they perceived at the corner of McCollum and North Main. Earlier this year, Scott submitted an idea for some island work around that intersection to give you a safe place to merge into traffic and a reconfiguration. We didn't know about how our children talked to KDOT and that conversation. They loved it, and so when they saw this plan, they embraced it, and in large part because of the work that our children did, talking about a traffic problem they perceived. And so this is again a team effort. So we may, here in the next year or so, be getting some islands in there that improve the traffic around McCollum and North Main and give cars a place to hide, essentially, and merge into traffic like you see in a lot of places. But this will be different for us on McCollum and in North Main.
Okay. Any other new business in the commission?
I don't have any.
I'll just say real quickly, we're thinking of the family and everyone involved with the accident over the weekend. And thank you to everyone in I assume probably the police department and fire department are both involved in some capacity in trying to get all that taken care of in the best way possible. So our thoughts and prayers are with all of them and the family, and that's all I've got.
If I can mention too, one of the things, Chief Seaman came up and has told me that the thing that he thinks that he's noticed that seems so typical of El Dorado is the outpouring of support from the community to those men and women doing that work. He said yesterday a man showed up in a big red dually with a stack of pizzas from Casey's and cases of water, and people have brought water and stuff down for the people doing the work, and the Salvation Army as well has had their van down there. So everyone's feeling awful for that family and being supportive of the men and women who are trying to find that young man.
Anything else? New business to bring before commission? Being none, we'll move on to the city manager's report.
I just wanted to update you. I got a question from one of y'all, I don't remember who, I'm sorry, about painting, that our streets some of them are getting kind of faded, and we own the equipment to paint them. I asked Brad about that, and our plan is that when Central is done, part of that work is gonna be striping of Central. And our plan is to just piggyback and on that bid and have that contractor do a bunch of places in town that need spray paint. And so, I don't know, I think that we know Road Safe got the bid, and so he's talking to Road Safe about doing that painting. And so, again, as I've told you often, we do some work and we contract work and we do whatever we think makes the most sense for the city. And in this case, we're going to give a bunch of it away. So it gets done. When you have a storm, guys that normally would paint are picking up branches, and so we can get taken off task, so we're not always the best method to do work. And this is one of those cases, we know we're behind and we want to catch up, and so that's our plan right now.
I'd imagine North Main up to McCollum is on the list.
Well, I don't know, but I can certainly ask that question, and generally when I ask that kind of question, it just happens.
Well, some crack seal in that road has covered up a lot of the white lines, other lines, so. It'd be good to add.
And
that
that's
to the
all I
list.
had, Mayor, and I got it down.
Okay.
Oh, I thought of something. I forgot. Herb, would it, and this may not be, I got asked, when the mosquito spraying rig goes around, would it be possible for that to make a pass down alleyways? If, and because I was told, you know, there's a lot of heavy vegetation a lot of times in the alleys, but I also know that a lot of people keep animals in their backyard too, if that stuff isn't harmful to domestic pets.
It's not. It really is, the science on mosquitoes is so,
Because they're bad this year.
so big that we only spray what's kills mosquitoes. It doesn't even kill other bugs. And so, very, very specific. But yeah, we can go down alleys.
And times, you know, I mean, I know they love standing water and, you know, it seems like, you know, that's usually the last place the little potholes or whatever dry up is in these alleys and stuff, and
Sure we
just
can.
if it could be done, I mean, for time or whatever. Or
And if
material, it couldn't be, that's fine, but I was just asked about it.
Yep, nope, and anyone, I mean, if you haven't seen us, call us and ask us, and we'll come by or at least tell you when we were there. And so maybe the big thing is if it's over 10-mile-an-hour wind, we're not out. So there were some days last week, I don't think we were out because it was too windy, but we're still spraying. All you got, just if someone has a special request, just call Darcy and let her know, and we'll see what we can do.
Make a pass.
And actually, you could probably tell anyone that answers the phone, if you just put in that request, we'll get it to where it needs to go.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anything more from the commission? Not having an executive session today, I'd entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.